Ladies and gentlemen, dear participants of the logistic conference, greetings from cloudy and rainy Koper, not like the picture behind me. Actually, the weather is a bit different. So thank you for the opportunity. I would like to give you a short insight of how the COVID-19 situation affected the port of Koper and what is happening at this moment in Koper. So allow me to share. Okay, so thank you for waiting. So let me start, of course, with the volume. We're all talking about volumes, how the logistics supply chain is affected due to various reasons. Well, the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on the throughput of Luka Koper, measured in the time period from January to November. So we experienced an overall throughput drop of 15%. So, of course, there was an economic downturn which was announced beforehand, and of course, the pandemic situation didn't help much. So, on the container business, we are quite lucky and happy to say that volumes are slowly recovering, and at this point we are minus 1.9% in comparison to last year volumes, and we see the gap closing. So we believe that we will be around minus 1% at the end of the year. The Hungarian container traffic even increased slightly for 1%. In comparison to last year's results. The car throughput, of course, there were lower car sales around the world for some time, so we experienced a minus 13 on our finished vehicles throughput, performing better than other terminals in Europe like Barcelona, Valencia, and Antwerp. They had quite some higher losses of volume. The loss on the liquid bulk cargo could be attributed to, of course, the problems in the airline industry, so less flights in the world, and for sometimes also less motor cars running on the streets. We experienced quite a drop also on the iron ore and coal segment due to the fact that, of course, this is a raw material for the steel industry. The steel industry is strongly linked to the automotive industry, and we felt a drop of steel products, raw materials, and of course also finished steel products in this period. Plus, there is also, due to the environment policies in vigor in the European Union, the thermal, the steam coal volume is expected to go down more and more. We, of course, like everybody else, adopted some anti-COVID-19 measures. What I would like to point out is that in order to prevent the workers meeting each other during shift changes, we established a one hour, let's say, period where the shifts are not linked between them, but there is a break of an hour where, you know, the previous gangs can undress, and of course the new gangs can prepare themselves for work. Despite everything, Koper is looking forward, trying to improve the services in the port by investments in capacity. in equipment, in the infrastructure as well. You might know that Koper has no port authority, so we have to invest in all the infrastructure, the piers, the roads, the rails, by ourselves. We also invest into IT processes and into workforce. So just a few words about the workforce. In the previous years, Port of Koper had many subcontracting workers performing the services. From several months ago, from last year, we are employing our own employees. So people who were previously working for subcontractor companies are now regular employees of Luka Koper, and there is, let's say, training going on. So I think that skills and experience will be increased in the port service. Some major investments that went on in 2020. So you can see there is this concession area, the yellow line depicting this area, the two piers of Luka Koper. So the main investments were into increasing capacity, productivity of the container terminal and the car terminal. We handle these cargo groups. They are regarded as strategic cargo groups by the Port of Koper. So in detail, we can see something going on the container terminal. We are prolonging the pier finally. So we have this part over here. We are extending the berthing area at the moment. This will be finished in Q2 of next year, after which we will proceed with prolonging this whole southern part of the terminal and acquiring new storage areas. So this is something like 25,000 square meters. With the completion of this enlargement of the pier and the terminal, we will reach to a nominal capacity of 1 million TEUs annually. We are also doing other investments into equipment, like 2 new super post Panamax ship-to-shore cranes, which will set on this prolonged berthing area. And we are, of course, buying all sorts of equipment like rubber-tired gantry trains, reach stackers, yard tractors, and trailers. And another picture, another photo showing this prolongation. So the first part here, next year in 2022, extension of the southern part, new storage area. But we also have the possibility, and there are already plans for extending the northern part of the pier. Here you can berth quite a big ship actually, and there's also the possibility to go into the hinterland of the basin and just prolong the basin and get some new berthing spaces there as well. So a picture showing what is actually happening in Koper in these days, on a sunny day, of course, not today. So we are building this part here by pushing pillars or pilots, as we call them, deep into the mud of the Koper Bay, and then on which this concrete will then stay on. So this is the idea of the prolongation, how it will look like. So it will actually increase berthing space at the terminal. On the rail, we have an increased rail capacity on the part where we load and unload container block trains. So we just received and put into operation a fourth rail-mounted gantry train, so adding to the capacity. And last year, an average of 24 container trains were loaded and unloaded on the terminal. And with this increased capacity, we can now unload up to 32 container trains per day. We are constantly, as I mentioned before, buying new equipment. So we have 3 new reach stackers, 12 in total, and we are constantly investing into new equipment. Maybe just a few words about the current Ro-Ro terminal. That is the second strategic terminal we are managing. So we just built a dedicated Ro-Ro berth for Ro-Ro vessels in the third basin, and built new railway tracks on the terminal just in the hinterland of the new berth. We're also building garage, so we are expanding the existing one, to be honest. So we are acquiring 6,000 new parking slots for the storage of finished vehicles. One of the investments which might be also important to our Hungarian partners is that you know very well that the previous years we just had this one existing main gate, and traffic sometimes piled up before the gates. And now, since last year, we have a second gate. This is Sermin location. And a third gate is currently being built. So to allow more flexible truck operations. And since this is a location where it is quite near to the depot and the container terminal, it will be mainly dedicated to trucks with containers. So there will be a gate, some facilities for the customs authority, parking slots, and other infrastructure. So another photo how this is proceeding. Well, what's new with the Koper railway track, which is of course still crucial for the development of Koper. Without it, all our projects are in vain, I would say. So the connection is so important. Currently, there are, I hope you can hear me. The internet connection is a bit unstable. But anyway, currently 2 bridges are being built in a very steep, narrow valley, which is called the Glinščica Valley. There is a canyon over there, actually a very nice place to visit when you're in Koper or Trieste. It's very nearby. So they are building retaining walls, and they're preparing everything for the bridge construction. Other main construction works are in a tendering process, and we really hope that this administration, bureaucracy, and whatever you call it, period goes by as soon as possible, and the construction of all the bridges and tunnels starts. Well, I would just like to play a video which we made for our partners, since we couldn't meet at our traditional Luka Koper event this year. And I would just like the moderator Zsolt to play this video, please.
Dear partners, we have been planning our annual business event in your country, but the COVID-19 pandemic has made it impossible to organize. This is why we have decided to bring our pod to you virtually. In the last months, we have done our best to implement all necessary safety measures in our operations, and we have successfully overcome the first wave of the pandemic. Despite the situation, we continue with our investment projects on schedule, upgrading our operational capacities, mainly in the container terminal and in the car segment. last but not least, the construction works for the new railway connection between our port and the hinterlands have finally begun.
Sustainable development is very important for our business and it makes our port even more competitive. We can help you to reduce your CO2 footprint by shortening transport routes and by managing port which is highly committed to environmentally friendly procedures. Together with you, we can make this transport chain greener. Our staff is at your disposal at any time, except when they are working in Holy Grove.
Stay healthy.
Stay safe.